All right, for today's notes, we are going to be looking at box plots, better known as box and whisker plots. So we're going to do some labeling, and then we will look at some box plots. Okay, start with our minimum. So our minimum is the very beginning of the data, and then our maximum is the end of the data. The median is the line that's in the box, and that won't always be in the middle. It's going to move depending on the data. Quartile 1 is the beginning of the box, so the very front of the box, and then quartile 3 is the end of the box. And the quartiles are medians of the data. Okay, so the median is the middle of the data. Okay, the range is the highest minus the lowest. And then your interquartile range is your quartile 3 minus your quartile 1. So it's how big is your box. So size of box. Okay, and then your range will be your max minus your minimum. Okay, so now we're going to find that. So our range is the beginning to the end of our data. So that's going to be 28 minus 16. The minimum 16, the max is 28. So that's going to be 12. Your interquartile range, again, that's the size of your box. Your quartile 3, which is 26. And then minus your quartile 1, which is 18. 26 minus 18 is 8. The median of your data is 22. Your quartile 1 is 18, and your quartile 3 is 26. Okay, so now we're going to look at the back and talk about skewed and symmetric, and then we'll look at a few more examples of these in a second. Okay, so symmetrical is going to remember the same distance across. So if you fold it in half, it'll be the same distance. Okay, so we have skewed left and skewed right, just like our dot plots. So remember with skewed left, it's got a tail on the left. Okay, so you can see that it's longer in this case, longer on the left. So put longer on the left. Okay, and then when it's skewed right, remember skewed right is the tail on the right side. And so with a box plot, it's going to be longer on the right. Okay, so you will have some questions where they'll ask about if it's skewed left or skewed right. So again, just make sure you know skewed left, longer tail on the left side, skewed right, longer tail on the right. And it's from the median to the outside of the data. That's what we're looking at. Okay, so median to the outside of the data. All right, so now let's look at some more questions about box plots. Okay, so we have a number of eggs. So find the following for the box plot that shows the number of eggs laid by a group of chickens that were all fed the same food. So the median's in the middle of the data. So that's going to be the line of the box. I'm just going to put an M. So that's going to be 6. First quartile, that's the beginning of the box. So I'm going to draw a line, and that's in between 2 and 4, which is 3. Third quartile is the end of the box, and that's at 8. Okay, I'm going to skip the range, interquartile range. Let's talk about the minimum, maximum. So your minimum is the beginning of the data, which is 2. Maximum is going to be the end of the data, which is 10. Okay, and we want to know, is it symmetric or skewed? So if I put my pin in the middle, does it look like I can fold it in half and it would match? And it does not, and it is skewed. Okay, so I'm going to talk about which ways it's skewed, which way is it longer. So again, I can put my pen in the middle, and I can see that it's a little bit longer on the left side. So it'll be skewed left. Okay, so your range is your maximum minus your minimum. So our maximum was 12. Minimum was 2. So my range will be 10. Your interquartile range is the size of your box. That's your quartile 3 minus your quartile 1. Quartile 3 is 8. Quartile 1 is 3. And 8 minus 3 is 5. All right, so let's look at the back side. We're going to do one more set of questions. Okay, so we have our median. So again, that's the line that's in the box. So these aren't exact numbers, so we'll kind of guess. We'll say 62. Your first quartile is the beginning of the box, and that is on 30. It's a little crooked, but it's 30. Your quartile 3 is the end of your box, so that's going to be 70. Your range, we'll skip the range and interquartile range again. Let's do the minimum, so that's the beginning of your data, which is 20. Then the maximum, we'll say that's about 90, it's about 92. Min and max. Okay, so we'll go back and do the range. So that's your maximum minus your minimum. So 92 minus 20, which is 72. Your interquartile range, again, is the size of your box. So that's your quartile 3 minus your quartile 1, which is 70 minus 30, which is 40. And then is it symmetric or skewed? So again, put your pin in the middle. And does it look exactly the same cut in half? No. So it's going to be skewed. Then let's look and see which ways it's skewed. And it is longer on the left side. So it'll be skewed left. Okay, so your homework is going to have this at the top. It'll be questions about your minimum, your quartile 1, quartile 3, your range, interquartile range, minimum, maximum, and if it's skewed or not.